Quote, in my opinion, he has blood on his hands from all the children who have died of measles since he come out with his study. Another one says, as you note, his original research was tossed out, but you didn't note that it was not found just to be inaccurate, but it was found completely fraudulent. You did not mention that while we were in the car, and I was stunned that you passed it over so blithely. Also, it went after Dr. Wakefield for Dr. Wakefield's alleged assertion that prior to the 1930s, autism did not really exist, all of which we're going to talk to Dr. Andrew Wakefield about. He now joins us. Dr. Wakefield, thank you very much for coming back on the program. I really do appreciate it.
Barry, it's good to be back. Thank you.
Dr. Wakefield, let me just start out again. Tell us what your current status in the medical profession is.
I am a qualified doctor. I have the title of doctor, though I lost my license to practice in the United Kingdom. So I no longer practice medicine. I am a researcher and I'm a filmmaker.
Now, you lost your license because you got involved in research linking the MMR vaccine to a higher incidence of autism in kids who are giving it at the age that I just now mentioned. Why did you get involved in this research? It wasn't your field of expertise.
I got involved because the parents reported that their children had severe gastrointestinal problems, which they believed to be related to the neurological problems, to the behavioral problems, and that we confirmed that. And we confirmed that these children who had hitherto been completely undertreated, underinvestigated, actually were suffering extraordinary pain, failure to thrive, and gastrointestinal problems, and discovered that they had a novel gastrointestinal disease, which the parents had believed all along, but which the medical profession characteristically had largely dismissed.
Mm-hmm. Doctor, as I said to you when you were last here, it seemed to me it should be easily provable. Either the MMR vaccine causes a higher incidence of autism in children who are vaccinated, or it doesn't. Now, why is it so difficult to prove or disprove?
Well, it's a very interesting question. I put this to the CDC, and my recommendation when I published our original paper was not that the vaccine causes autism or that we should stop vaccinating against measles. It was that further research was needed, and that was the end of my career. But I did make a recommendation to the Centers for Disease Control in this country that such research should be done, and that is what they did. Mm-hmm. To their credit, they went away and they tested the hypothesis that I told them about, that younger age of MMR might be a risk for autism. And that is exactly what they found. They found a very high risk associated with recommended exposure to the vaccine between 12 and 18 months compared with getting it later, after 3 years, to which you've earlier referred. They concealed that data, they destroyed the documents, and they refused to publish. They published an entirely fraudulent paper to which one of their scientists, and this is what our film Vax is about, not my opinion, the opinion of a senior CDC scientist who was involved and who designed the study, who analyzed the data, said, we have committed fraud, we have kept this quiet for 14 years, we are the ones with blood on our hands.
Now, that CDC doctor is your whistleblower in your film, and he's the one who admitted that the research that the CDC had done was not sufficient, and that further research was necessary. And he was so troubled by that, he contacted a friend who recorded him without the doctor's knowledge. Now, this doctor at the CDC is still there. If the CDC is engaging in such unethical conduct, why hasn't he resigned?
Well, he's protected by federal employee whistleblower laws that were enacted under President Obama. And so I think he comes up to retirement very soon. But we have sought to prevail on Congress to subpoena him and to have him brought before a congressional hearing to explain what his position is. It wasn't simply that it was inadequate, Larry. It was fraud. It was scientific fraud, pure and simple, and millions of American children were put in harm's way. And the attacks come against me from the pediatrician, for example, who emailed your show, but she seems completely unconcerned that the body that is providing her with information, with advice on the safety and efficacy of vaccines such as that against measles, are lying to her. They have lied to her, they have given her misinformation, but she seems completely untroubled by that and wants to blame me for her current dilemma.
My guest is Dr. Andrew Wakefield. Dr. Wakefield, what would be the incentive for the CDC to engage in what you've called fraud?
Well, they are not only a vaccine company in as much that they have many, many patents for vaccines. They spend $4 billion a year on purchasing and selling vaccines and they have a huge interest in protecting the vaccine program. And they've done this time and time again, is to make decisions which run contrary to protection of the public and in favor of protection of the vaccine program. And this is just one such example.
My guest is Dr. Andrew Wakefield. Dr. Wakefield, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I'll ask you some of the specific questions that some of these letter writers have put to you, including the fact that one of them says that your original research was not found just to be inaccurate, it was completely fraudulent. Was your research found to be not just inaccurate, but completely fraudulent? And what about the assertion that this writer claims you made that autism pretty much did not exist prior to the 1930s?